Alright, so I had a lot of resistance during this video, and I was supposed to do this yesterday, but here I am doing it today. And then on top of it, there's so many other excuses going into my head as to why I shouldn't do it right now and blah blah blah. And so it's kind of postponed, but I'm trying my best to show up. And so even right now, I am not dolled up. I actually came from the gym, and so I'm still a little sweaty and my hair's a mess, but I just want to show you guys that things aren't going to be perfect, but what's important is showing up. And so this is me showing up. So now this video today is going to be about how I got back into my fitness routine 3 months ago and what exactly I did to get there. So 3 months ago, I finally decided that I just couldn't do it anymore. We were moving to a new place, and I remember packing my clothes, and at the same time, I was kind of assessing what am I keeping, what am I throwing away? And as I was looking at the clothes, I was looking at the fact that 90% of the clothes that I had, I couldn't fit in anymore, besides my workout stuff. And even the workout stuff, there's some clothes that I didn't feel confident in anymore. That made me then realize how caught up I was with everything else happening in my life besides paying attention to myself. I was so caught up in the business. I was so caught up with the move. I was so caught up with other drama happening in my life, and I put myself in the back seat. Next to all that happening in my life, I also put so much pressure on myself to get my workouts in and have better nutrition that eventually it just led me to burn out. The messy state that my apartment was in was basically the messy state that my brain was in and that my habits were in. And it was so messy that I was experiencing an immense amount of stress, but I was so caught up in it that I didn't even notice I was experiencing all that stress. Because of all that stress and because of all the disorganization, because of me neglecting my habits, my sleep became really bad, and that never happens. I had no energy to work out. I had no energy to cook. I had no energy to even go outside for a walk. And as I was assessing that, I realized that I didn't want to do this anymore. I didn't want to be in this state anymore. And I realized that I wanted to call it off there and make a change, because although it felt so bad, I also knew it could get worse, because it had been worse for me way back before. And that if I postponed it longer and just held it off and tried to brush it off and ignore what was going on, that it would only become harder and more difficult for me to eventually build back the habits I had that were good. But although I made up at that moment, I made my mind up that I would make the change, I knew that I couldn't just flip a 180 all of a sudden and be all good. I knew that if I attempted to go all in at once, that it would definitely result in me failing, but not just failing a little bit, but failing miserably, and then maybe not even wanting to pursue anything after that, which is where fitness burnout comes from, and it would just further add into the fitness burnout that I had. So I decided to do things a little bit differently. And what I did differently is what I'm going to share with you guys in this video, and basically hopefully inspire you to also not take on too much at once, and show you that you can also get out of a difficult situation, show you that you can build back the healthy habits that you maybe once had. And it doesn't have to be too strenuous. It doesn't have to be too difficult for you to get to that point again. And I also kind of want to give you hope, because when you're in that situation, I know that we tend to lose hope and we tend to lose faith in the ability to be able to get there. We kind of get lost and we put ourselves down, and it's really hard to think otherwise that there is an option. Now, before I even start listing out the habits that I'm doing right now and how I got there, I want to say that I'm not perfect. My habits aren't perfect, and I know that they will never actually be perfect. I also have a long way to go. And because I've been so consistent, I've finally felt that positive shift and that change happen in my life. And I feel like I am now ready to share with you. So, what did I do first? Well, the first thing I did was I thought of the lowest hanging fruit, meaning the easiest thing for me to begin doing, right? And you want to attempt it from that standpoint, because if you go and you try and do something that you're so far away from doing, it's going to require way more energy out of you than doing something that is maybe similar to something you're already doing that maybe you just need to tweak a little bit. So I have this common habit of drinking water in the morning and drinking water right before I go to sleep. And I thought, okay, well, I already have this habit. Why don't I just toss in the habit of drinking my supplements with that water? And I started off with literally just one supplement, which was magnesium. And I knew that if I started with magnesium, that eventually it would lead me into being able to take more supplements. And now this trick, this method that I just showed you, that I use and I still use to this day, and I even teach my clients how to use this method, is called habit stacking. And habit stacking is simply defined as it involves taking advantage of connected behaviors by choosing an existing current habit and stacking a new behavior on top of it. So like I said, I've always had that habit of drinking a glass of water before and after bed. So for me to simply add another habit onto it was much easier because that habit had something to stick to that was already there and very solid. So to me, that's like, okay, well, I already eat breakfast. How about I add a little bit more protein to the breakfast? That's another example. And as I added magnesium, this then in turn helped me with my sleep. For me, sleep is something that is very crucial. If I don't get sleep, I'm not productive. I am not in the right mindset even, and I am not even a good person to be around, basically. So I knew that taking magnesium was actually a good choice and a good supplement to be taking for myself, because not only did it improve my overall health of my body and added in the healthy habit that I had before, but it also affected my sleep positively without me having to put in much effort. And as my sleep got better through taking magnesium, I also implemented other habits around my sleep, like making sure I don't go to sleep too late. So that was the other habit that I then implemented following that one to better my sleep even further. Then eventually my sleep became much better, and that gave me more energy. With the more energy, I was able to have a better mindset. I was also a little bit more productive. And I had an inclination to actually walk. So one of the things about moving to this new place was that I'm lucky enough that I'm close to work. And at that point, once we moved and once I started making the changes, I thought that it would be amazing to use that extra energy to go outside and get some fresh air, get some steps in, which would be my first level of activity because I wasn't doing anything. I actually took a break from working out for I think 3 to 4 weeks. I didn't touch a single weight at all. I knew I didn't have enough physical energy to work out, but I also knew I didn't have enough mental energy to work out. I just didn't want to do it. So for me, walking was the lowest hanging fruit. Now, the walks not only helped me be more physically active, but it also contributed to clearing my mind even more. It definitely helped reduce my stress, which was also another factor that I wanted to work on and improve in terms of my health. And so then once that aspect started to influence my stress levels in a positive way, then I looked at other things that could impact my stress levels positively, reducing my stress levels. And I realized that one of the bad habits that I had formed over time was scrolling through social media late at night or right in the morning. And so for me, I made the effort to not be on my phone at night and not be on my phone right in the morning. And I didn't delete Instagram off of my phone because I use it for business, but I kept it solidly just for business. I would only go on there to post and then I would come off right away. There was no scrolling. And for me, it was difficult at first. I would catch myself always opening the app and like wanting to look and see what's happening. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh no, it's like, why am I doing this? And so it did take a little bit of effort, but I found that this dramatically reduced my stress levels as well. And now, because of this is one of the reasons why I kind of disappeared from social media. Actually, if you look at my Instagram, there was a point where I wasn't posting on Instagram either. And this was one of the reasons why, next to me not feeling confident enough to post things and not being motivated enough to post things. But one of the reasons why I wasn't posting as much was also because I was building the habit of not being on social media as much. And then I was looking at other ways to further reduce my stress, and I found that going to church helped, and praying really helped. And I found that through prayer and strengthening my faith in God, that my stress levels also reduced a lot, because I realized that I have someone else I can lean on besides myself that has more power than me and more abilities than me to do what needs to get done. And whether you are a believer of God or someone or the universe or someone higher up than you, I think it's really important to know that there is an energy out there that is stronger than you are. And I think if you believe in something other than just yourself, you're going to be far better off than trying to rely on only yourself. Now, I want to emphasize that reducing stress was one of the biggest factors that helped me get back into my fitness routine. I can't emphasize enough how stress can be such a huge obstacle and get in the way of you wanting to do anything in terms of activity or anything in terms of your nutrition or other healthy habits you want to build. And it only makes it 10 times harder for you to be able to build those things and keep those good habits around. As I reduced my stress, I also had more energy again and more clarity again. And because I had more energy and more clarity, I suddenly wanted to do other things. And so I took up cooking. Prior to cooking, we were going out, we were eating out a lot, we were getting fast food, cheap foods as well, so like burgers, nothing that was really nutritionally dense, right? It was just things just to get ourselves to eat, not thinking too much about the repercussions. So I used that extra energy to start cooking. Not only did cooking save us some money, but cooking also gave us more energy and again helped us feel even better mentally, not just physically, because there's so much involved in being able to eat foods that you cook from home rather than eating out. Now, I want to quickly pause here and highlight how much all of this was in relation to habit stacking. Had I not done habit stacking, I wouldn't be able to get to that point of where I was when I started cooking. So each habit led to another habit, which led to another habit, which led to another habit. And I keep using that method to continuously build something stronger. What started off with me taking magnesium led me to a better sleep, which gave me more energy, led me to walking, which gave me more clarity, which led me to reducing my stress more, which with reduced stress allowed me to make time and have more energy to cook. This whole journey of mine was not perfect either. I did have hiccups. I did have nights where I stayed up. I did have bad sleeps. I did have days where I didn't walk. I did have days where I didn't cook. It wasn't perfect. But the one thing you want to remember is that habits aren't designed to be perfect. Think about brushing your teeth. I mean, I'm sure there's a day or a moment in the day where you skip brushing your teeth. It's not perfect either. I'm sure there's a day where you, like, even though you eat to survive, you still miss eating, right? So habits aren't designed to be perfect. They're designed to be completed 85% of the time. As I started completing things 85% of the time, my confidence began to build. And so then once I began cooking and once cooking became more consistent, I realized that I was ready for the next step. And that next step was working out. I knew the benefits of working out. I still know the benefits of working out. I know it can reduce stress. I know it makes me stronger. I know it will lead me to making better decisions with my nutrition because they're kind of aligned. But I also didn't want to put too much pressure on myself in terms of working out because that's something I always did. I didn't put pressure on myself achieving a certain physique. And instead, I just focused on performance and enjoying myself, enjoying the workouts, and getting a good sweat. And now my goal is to lose 10 pounds of body fat, but I'm still focusing on performance. I'm still focusing on getting stronger because I know that by focusing on performance and by focusing on my strength and by improving the things I do at the gym, I know that those actions will lead me to the goal of losing 10 pounds of body fat. Now, working out, there's quite a bit of obstacles that can happen, right? There's time, there's the effort of creating a program, There's the lack of accountability sometimes that gets in the way. And so I wanted to have the least amount of obstacles. And the way I did that was I found a program to follow. A program to follow is such a great investment because by following a fitness program, you are guaranteed an action plan. You have it right in front of you, what you should be doing every day or whatever, how many days you go and work out. You have the plan right in front of you. Without a plan, there is no way of getting to the goal, right? Without your map, you can't get to the X on the map. Or without the map and the route, you can't get to the X on the map. And so the program is that route. And then what also is beneficial about having a fitness program is that you get an accountability aspect. Whether you have a coach to keep you accountable or whether it's just a program itself, scheduling them in, treating them like an appointment, and aiming to follow that program itself can be an accountability aspect. And if you don't have a program that you're currently following, then this is something I suggest strongly, and I suggest for anyone. And then while I was working on my nutrition and my fitness habits, I was also working on my habits around my business. I know very well how to take on too much work when it comes to working around my business. And that always seems to get in the way. And so this time I didn't want that to happen. So I made sure that I monitored my workload, that I monitored my energy levels, that I monitored exactly what my week was going to look like. And that helped me be more diligent with time, which my diligence with time gave me more time for myself. I knew that my habits around my business were also strongly related to my habits around my nutrition and my fitness. So I made sure that I was implementing good habits around my business as well. So today I take my supplements. I cook at home most of the time, and we eat out maybe once a week and then go to our parents as well. But again, those are home cooked meals. I have fantastic sleep. I have methods to cope with my stress levels. I have a better balance around my business. And I also am able to work out 4 to 5 times a week consistently. And again, I want to highlight I didn't get here in one day. It took me 3 months to get to this spot. So if you're trying to rush into building yourself back and you're trying to do it all in 1 week, just know it's going to take time. And if you give yourself that time and you don't put too much pressure on yourself, just a little bit of pressure, then you will succeed in being able to build those habits and keeping them, making them stick. And I'm not sharing this with you to toot my horn or to make me feel better. I'm sharing this to actually just show you that it's possible and that you can do it too, and to inspire you to get through the difficult time. And by planning, so much can change in your life. I want you to know that no matter how deep you are in right now, in terms of how unhappy you are or where your habits are, just know that you can definitely get out of it. If I want you to take anything out of this video, I want you to realize that by habit stacking, by building one habit at a time and aiming for the lowest hanging fruit is going to be the most beneficial for you building back your health and fitness journey. And I want you to believe in yourself and start today with even just a small habit. And so if you found this video helpful and you want more videos like this, then please give it a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button so you get notified when my next video comes out.